Gospel Diaries. Episode 50. Pastor Vincent Bohanan.
Gospel Diaries. Listen, I'm more than excited to be sharing another episode from my heart to yours, some content from my heart to yours. And listen, I'm in Brooklyn, I believe, right?
Yes.
Brooklyn, New York, with the famed Pastor Vincent Bohanan. So we got an exciting episode ahead. What's going on?
Yes, I'm good. You all right?
Your Gospel Diary, all right? So if I'm not mistaken, you grew up in the famed institutional Church of God in Christ under the leadership of Bishop
Carl
William
Sr.
Okay, and your childhood at institution.
My childhood at institutional, I tell everybody it was something that can never be replaced. I have no regrets at all. It was definitely a movie every Sunday. The whole church was just my whole 20-something years there. It was just amazing. Just the people that we've met that have become so close to us, the music, the praise, the worship, the people, the choirs, the children's choir, the radio choir, the expositions. It was amazing. It was. At the church, I didn't even realize that they were who they were because I was there. But it was an amazing time just to watch them every Sunday. And they came in every Sunday, 11 a.m., marched in, but they were just, they knew how to shake the room every Sunday. No matter what they sung, they were going to make sure that the house was going to be in smithereens afterwards. So no one could sing after the radio choir at any Sunday, no matter what. Came in at the latter end of the broadcast. I was young, and
You
so
still are young.
yeah, I still am forever.
Forever 21.
Come on. And so I came in at the latter part of it, and so they were already ending. And so by that time, the people were getting a little older and all of that other stuff. So I vaguely remember it, but even through those years, they still had concerts every year, and those were amazing all the time. Just to see them, just see their hair, just so high up, and the curls and the French rolls and the robes and all this other stuff. It was great. It was a great time to be alive.
Now it's time to delve a bit more deeper into your Gospel Diary. Now, one could suspect that, your inspiration or your enthusiasm comes from that choir, but I should ask you first, before, not to make any assumption, where did your enthusiasm for music, where was it birthed?
Yeah, it's birthed right there. Yeah.
Well, who are some of those key figures?
Bishop J.C. White, Bishop Carl Jr., so many, James Hall, Melvin Crispell, all of those that were at the church at one time. Those people I watched them play, I watched them sing, and through that I was able to really get everything that I needed from them, and this is who I am today.
We're going to take a short musical intermission, and we'll be right back and to capture more history about your choir. All right? We'll be back.
Everyone say we serve.
your mom. Did she lead any songs with the choir?
Yeah, she led a song on the After the Rapture album. I think it was like the 90s, 97. And so, yes, she did lead a song. And before that, she was also, I think she had like a few songs that she would lead as well. But, you know, of course, they never did them, you know. Wow.
Last but not least, give us one of your fondest memories of your mother, man. And,
Oh,
you know,
my God,
I actually
there's
saw
so
a
many.
picture that your mom actually sang with the choir. Well, did a couple of cameos with your choir, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, so she sang with us for the first album, and she did a song as well. And, you know, she could lead a song and drive a song. And so that's where I get it from as well. And so, but my favorite, I have so many memories from church, and from institutional, from home. It's too many.
Give us a home memory and something that was probably at the church.
One of my memories with her, every Sunday I would take out her robe for that Sunday. So that was my job. I would have to take out her robes every Sunday that they wore, because it was every Sunday that they wore robes.
Who were some of the artists that inspired you?
Hezekiah Walker and the Love Fellowship Crusade Choir, James Hall Worship and Praise, the Institutional Radio Choir, who else? Those three are my main three. And if you hear anything that I do, you're going to get a mixture of the Crusade Choir, you're going to get a mixture of the radio choir, a little bit of James Hall, all mixed in together with what I have as well. And so that's what we have.
Okay.
And that's what you hear.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about your choir, the choir Sound of Victory. What is the origin of the choir?
The Sound of Victory. So we started in 2014. The first rehearsal we had about probably like 10 to 15 people. By the second rehearsal, we had about 50. By the third, we had about 100. And it just grew and grew and grew. And so we were in this small little church every Wednesday at 8 p.m. We wouldn't really get out until like after 12, because we would be having church. We would be on the floor, having a prayer line. It was like a whole, it was just every week, every Wednesday, they were coming from all over the place. We had people from Connecticut, from PA, from Jersey, from like out of state sometimes. And so it was a great start. We had a strong start. We really, really did. And we never stopped. A lot of the people knew Institutional and me from Institutional, and they knew the young people from Institutional. We had a great young choir at Institutional, CW Youth Choir. That choir, it was pretty known because we were pretty much like the Institutional Radio Choir, but just like a younger version. And so all of the people that joined the choir knew that that's what we were trying to do and stuff, so they wanted to be a part. So I had my own choir from that.
And you actually recorded with them too, right?
Yes, we have one single with them called Heaven. I was also writing for the church at that time, and so I said, I think that we should do a project, you know. We never did a whole album, but we did have that one song. So we started with Only God, then we went to He Reigns, then we did We Win. From We Win, we went to Road to 5 EP. The reason why that was an EP, because the other half of the album, I don't know, it was just a whole long thing. So we were only able to put out 6 songs. But that was actually a whole album. It was actually a whole album. But because of everything that happened, we only put out 6 songs. And then from that, right after that, I think we put out Live in Chicago. That's when we went to Chicago. We brought everybody to Chicago. And that's when we put out the full album for Live in Chicago.
And you know what's amazing is that before I knew who a Vincent Bohanan was, I knew their music. I just didn't know the name.
Really?
You know, because everybody singing He Reigns. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah,
all
yeah.
that good stuff. So I think it's the perfect segue to talk about your penmanship. You know, so, I mean, you write so catchy, a message that a 9-year-old, the message a 9-year-old can just, you know, captivate. So let's talk about your penmanship, your compositions.
So that comes from institutional as well. We were a church that only did original songs. We didn't sing anybody else's songs. That was like a crime. We wouldn't sing anybody else's songs. If we did anybody else's songs, we were probably gonna be like, what is this? And why are we singing it? So we get that from there. So J.C. White wrote all of his songs. Butch wrote all of his songs, and then it was me. And then, so I get that same spirit from the house. And so I've been blessed to write all of my songs. And a key to what I do when I write my songs, I just can't like write a song or whatever, but it actually has to like come to me. But I try to incorporate everything so it can reach the older people, the younger people, the people right in the middle. I try to put everything into that one song. And if it's going to be the lyrics or if it's going to be the intro, I got to grab everybody at some point and then bring everybody in by the time we get to the drive of the song. And then everyone is just all together as one.
So we must talk about Bishop Hezekiah Walker. So
Yes.
how did that opportunity arise?
So Bishop Hezekiah Walker has been in my life my entire life. He was really close with my parents as well. And so he would too come down to the church and all of that way before me. And so that's how they became real close and stuff. And then by the time we had the choir, a lot of people say that we were kind of like a replica of him and his choir. And so I think from that, he saw that and he said, you know, I would love to help out. And he's been a great help to everything that we do today. And, you know, joined his house after we did Live in Chicago, but we put Live in Chicago under his house. Yeah, and then from there, we just been going.
Okay. Now let's talk about your European travels. How did you get hooked up?
I have no clue. That's another thing. It just always happens somehow, some way. So one year after my mom passed, a few months later, I got an email saying that they wanted us to come to Europe. And so I think we brought probably like 12, 15 people. So that was our first time actually overseas. It was a great experience. And from every year since that time, we travel to Europe.
Well, what would you say is the contrast between the way that Europeans accept or embrace gospel music opposed to domestically here?
Oh, they love it. They enjoy it. They love it. We have church.
Really?
We have church over there.
Sometimes they don't know what you're saying, huh?
They don't even know what we're saying half of the time, but let me tell you, they're crying and they are jumping up and down. They're trying to shout with us. And so they may not really understand what's actually happening, but they definitely feel something. And that is the Holy Spirit. And so it's a great experience, though, just to travel and see the world. This time around, we went to Switzerland, and we went to Rome, and we went to Italy, and all these other places. It was a great time this last time that we just went.
And another thing that I think that is amazing too is that if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, did Nate Martin do?
Yeah.
He substituted. He was a substitute for you last.
Yeah. So he went on the tour that we usually do. I had another opportunity with another. What do you call it? Promoter. And so we went with them. And so I said I would love to bless someone else to go. And I said that they would be an awesome choice. They're wonderful. They're young. And I said, yeah, I think that would be really, really great for them.
What up, Gospel Diaries? Listen, man, I thought that I would do something different. So I'm still with Pastor Vincent. And we're on our way to Bridgeport, right?
Yeah.
And
Bridgeport, Connecticut.
To sit with Sister First Lady, the songstress herself, Sister Gloria White. Tell me some good experience. Share some good experience.
Well, I guess with a choir you have the good, and then you have the really bad. You have the ups, you have the lows. But I would say overall during these last 9 years, moving to 10 years, we're celebrating our 10th anniversary next year. I've had a lot of great times. We've met so many people. When I really have it in my mind, I said, we had like over 200, 300 people in the choir. If we all came back together, it would be so many people in the choir. It would be crazy. And so, but I think the experience of traveling on the road overseas have been so great. So all the laughs and the talks and the fights and all this other stuff.
Any of your musicians write and use any of their material? Or have you pressured them?
Yeah, so I don't know, I don't think they write.
Okay.
I don't think they ever told me that they write. I think Andrew writes some songs, but yeah, I don't think they like write,
So when it comes to a musician, like what qualities did you see in the ones that you have present?
So these musicians, this is the longest we've ever been together as like one band. So they've been with me for quite some time now. Me and Sean, we have this great connection in church where he knows exactly what I want. He knows what to play. He knows when to play it. And Drew, Flash, Kenny, they are pretty much like the same way as well. And that connection came through us hanging out outside of church, talking all day long on the phone. All of that stuff really brought us into this tight knit that we have now. And so I thank God for them because we came a long way. it first, and then pretty much they take it and they
Are
make
you
it.
okay with that?
Yeah,
You
but
trust them? Well,
yeah, I do
okay.
because they know not to change it too much.
Mhm.
You know, they know not to really put anything that I'm probably not going to like in it. So, but pretty much everything that you hear is pretty much what I play, but they have a way of just kind of like enhancing it even more. With
Throwing some whistles and bells on it.
the whistles and bells and the tricks and the turns and all that other stuff. When I think of harmony, I think of the Edwin Hawkins singers, where they had 4 and 5 and 6-part harmony. If you hear, what's my favorite song from them? I heard a voice of Jesus saying, "Come unto me." They have so many different parts, and it just brings out the beauty of the entire song. And so harmony is really, really important. And I know in 2023, everything is pretty much like one note unison, you know, throughout the entire song, just so everyone can then sing together and all that other stuff, which is also effective as well, but there's nothing like harmony.
As a choir director, a choir leader, when a member is off or flat or whatnot, how do you, what is your address? How do you address that? Because some people can be cruel and, you know, it can really deteriorate the person. So, but what
I
is your
think
method?
you got to know your group, and you have to know your tribe, and you got to know your choir most of all. And everyone is not going to take that, especially now. They're not going to take what they used to do, you know, back in the day and all this other stuff. My way about it is, I'm a little sharp. I'm not like sharp because I'm just not that person. Oh, you know, I'm just not that. And so, but I guess you have to know what to say and how to say it. But
You
it's
ain't throwing
also
those shoes, are you?
no, I don't do all that. I don't do all that. It's either you know how to sing or you don't.
Period.
And if you don't know how to sing, just don't join the choir. You know, pretty much.
I mean, some people are meant to be ushers, some people are
Yeah.
and so forth, right?
Yeah. My children's choir director,
Really?
Betty Cooper, who was also a member of the institutional radio choir since the beginning, and she's still living. She actually lives right across the street from the church, so we can probably see if she's home. But she taught us how to sing as children. So the institutional children's choir was singing in 3-part harmony when we were like 3, 4, 5, and 6. We had to sing in 3-part harmony. And you know, most kids these days, they don't know anything about that. All they do is, you know, get up there and, you know, and they do, you know, what they can. But at institutional, she taught us harmony, but she taught us how to use our voice and how to sing real strong and all of that other stuff. It was great. I learned a lot from her as well.
Okay, so we did not cover the Lost album. Wow.
The Lost album.
That is amazing. Let's talk about
Yes.
that. The songs that's on the album, do you remember hearing those songs ever?
Yeah, so we used to sing, in my day, they would sing, That's What He's Done. Dr. Taylor, she would run that song, and we would sing that song for a good 20 minutes. And she would sing and drive that song, and the church would just be in on like 2000, just on the floor and shouting everywhere. It was amazing. So we did sing that a lot in church. The rest of the songs, I don't really remember them doing it in my day. But then, that was probably almost 20 years later or something, so
Wow.
I can see why they weren't really doing them anymore.
Wow, I mean, with the sound, the quality is amazing.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that we actually have that album now, because we've been trying to get that album for so long. Oh my God.
So what is the importance? What was the importance of getting that album out to you?
Just to know that there was another album out there that we have not heard. And so we're just like, yo, what is on this album? Like, we want to hear it. And, I know for myself, I have almost every album. I do have every album that the choir ever did. So it's just like, this one album we need. We need this album. So there's no way that we can't have this album.
So,
church tonight, and I came to dance. Hallelujah. Every time I think about what happened, amen, Good Friday, God, Saturday, silent. But look up to somebody and say, just give me the Sunday, and I'll rise again. Look at somebody else and say, just give me the Sunday, rise again. When Sunday comes.
So I meant to ask you about the experience recording at the Met. Like, what actually inspired you to go up there? And I saw pictures. That place was it was pretty full.
Yeah, it was amazing. So that was in the height of the pandemic, and I got a lot of slack for it. I was like, oh well.
I was wondering too. I'm like, man, do this guy know a pandemic?
Yeah, we were in the middle of the pandemic, and so I said, well, since we're right in the middle of it, let's get somewhere that's going to be like pretty big, that we'll be able to then space out and all this other stuff. And so I wanted to do something closer to home that year, and so I said, well, we've never did anything out there, and so. You know me, I just can't have anything at like a church and stuff. I got to go all the way out, and that's just how I am. And so I said, well, I want the Met, and so it just so happened that they asked us to sing a few months before.
The church. Oh, got you.
Yeah, and I said, yeah, this is definitely where we're gonna go. Because I said, yeah, he already put that all together and stuff. So we sang there. And I said, yeah, this is nobody but the Lord. Wow. Telling us that we got to come here. So we sang there. I think that was like November. And then we had the concert in January. And it was amazing. We got robes and all this other stuff, and the people came out.
Yes, they did.
They came out. So we did record that night as well, but we didn't put it out. It's just.
But you have it though.
It's just on the shelf. I got so much on the shelf.
But you probably will release it someday.
Yeah, I think someday I probably will.
Wow. So you're recording in Chicago. Like that was a brave move.
That was our fifth anniversary. That was our 5th anniversary live recording.
And it was, Chicago came out.
Yes,
so
Chicago has always been great supporters of me. Every time I go there, they're always supporting. And I said, well, let's go to Chicago now. So we chartered like a whole plane from Brooklyn.
A plane?
Yeah, there was so many choir members on the plane. And then we had the church, and we had the other people come and all this other stuff. So they were all on the same flight. We went to Chicago. It was like below zero. It was crazy. It was really, really cold that weekend. And then it was a blizzard that night. It was a whole blizzard that night. The snow and the wind and this and that. Let me tell you, those people waited online.
All right, Gospel Diaries. Peace.
That sounds good.
Wow.
Oh, now see, I got it.
Yep. I wish you was going. Yeah.
Yeah.
You go to California for her?
Oh yeah. Bishop.